Alright guys, what's going on? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. So apparently there's a little bit of a debate or discussion online, according to what I seen earlier today after waking up a little too late, so to speak. And that is, there's a quote-unquote discussion or debate going on whether or not XDefiant actually needs a Battle Royale. So that's what we're going to get into the discussion today, and we're going to take it beyond the platform of X, and we're going to bring it on here to YouTube, so that way we can extend the discussion, and so that way we can get multiple viewpoints as to why there should or shouldn't be. Now, first of all, I just want to stay right off the bat, and this may lose some of you, and that's perfectly fine, but I'm not a Battle Royale guy. I don't play Battle Royales of any kind. It's just not my cup of tea. But I will, at the same time, not ignore the fact that the genre has been very, very popular over the last God knows how many years, and to the point to where so many games out there end up implementing their own version of Battle Royale. Some successfully, some not so much. But at the end of the day, ever since Fortnite became what it became and everything else, as well as what happened with Apex Legends and all that kind of stuff, you know, a lot of people have been kind of implementing that because they want that same level of success, of course. So a lot of people are saying that XDefiant should pretty much do the same sooner or later, sooner the better, right? That's what they're saying, right? So that way XDefiant can survive. A lot of people say that XDefiant, whether they incorporate a Battle Royale or not, will not survive. Some other people say, well, that it's actually needed, you know, it's perfect for XDefiant to have a Battle Royale. And if you think about it, you know, if you look at what XDefiant's trying to do in terms of all the different kind of Ubisoft franchises and stuff that are all in one game to a certain extent as far as the factions are concerned, yeah, I mean, if you look at it from that aspect, yeah, I think XDefiant could have a heck of a Battle Royale if they were to decide to do so. And from a financial standpoint, I guess you can say it will kind of help as far as that aspect is concerned. But at the same time, my area of concern, because of historic facts as well, is the fact that, well, quite frankly, implementing a Battle Royale would probably hurt the game. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's a lot of inconsistencies that would follow. And even if you look at a game as big as Call of Duty with a whole bunch of developers, XDefiant in and of itself is a game that doesn't have as many developers. And early on in the beginning, it's pretty clear to me at least that they had to make a decision, right? It's like they're aware, right? No matter what developer or publisher you are aware of the popularity of Battle Royale, right? You're aware of it, you know it's out there, you know that people love Battle Royales. A lot of people do. You know, not everybody does, but you know a lot of people do. So I'm pretty sure before they started to begin development, when they were discussing what the game was going to be internally, they were probably like, okay, we have to make a decision. What are we going to do? Are we going to go in this direction or are we going to go in that direction? And obviously from what we see today, they went in the direction of, no, we're going to incorporate, we're going to revitalize the 6v6 arena arcade shooter experience. And of course, for competitive, it would be 4v4. So that's the decision that they went with. And I think the biggest reason, if not one of the biggest reasons why XDefiant should not have a Battle Royale, in my humble opinion, is because they need to stick to their guns. They need to really focus on mastering what they're setting out to do to do so in the first place, because as we know from a whole bunch of historic facts, we know that if a game starts to lose its identity too much, or if it starts going in all sorts of different directions, you've got a problem, right? It's happened so many times throughout the history of Call of Duty. You know, we're talking from, you know, we went from boots on the ground to jetpacks, back to boots on the ground to realism, and now Battle Royale. So when you start incorporating different aspects, and the thing is this, when you start incorporating different aspects of what your foundation is in the first place into that foundation itself, it's really not going to end up being so good, because the next thing you know, people are going to say, well, what is this game? What exactly is it? It's trying to be a little bit of everything. And on paper, that sounds like it seems the right thing to do, but in execution, it's not, because there are a ton of people out there that really like only one specific game, and that is including the Battle Royale community themselves. They only like Battle Royales, right? Just like the 6v6 community loves only 6v6, arcade shooters, blah, blah, blah. And let's not mention the fact that, let's be real here. There's like a handful of Battle Royales out there you can play. As of right now, before the release of XDefiant, there's only one arcade shooter that you can play, and that's Call of Duty, okay? So XDefiant being released and being a 6v6 arcade arena shooter is something that is welcomed by so many people out there, because they've been looking for an alternative, and that's exactly what XDefiant is. Like, for me personally, I know that XDefiant doesn't play quite as smooth as Call of Duty, and you know what else? I'm perfectly okay with it, because it's the differences, right? It's the little differences that make XDefiant what it is, and that I love about it personally. I love the fact that it's different. I don't want it to feel exactly like Call of Duty because I don't exactly want to be playing Call of Duty. I already did that for so long. I want the genre, right? I want the arcade shooter genre, which is what made me fall in love with Call of Duty in the first place back in the day before that ended up not being a thing anymore for me personally. But, you know, there was only one choice. But now we've got another choice that's entering the market, which is a great thing, made by passionate developers, made by people that know the game. And another thing is the fact that the developers themselves, it's not of a studio, of a development team like it is with Call of Duty. So if they were all of a sudden to start incorporating a Battle Royale, the multiplayer itself, the foundation of the game itself, would suffer even more than what Call of Duty suffered. Because when you look at what happened with Call of Duty, right, especially when you look at the design of Modern Warfare 2019, as well as a few other games, like when you look at the map design of that game, other than just the safe spaces and stuff like that, like it was, like if you think about it, it was like you were playing a mini Battle Royale. And that's what a lot of players did not like about Modern Warfare 2019. By the way, a lot of people love Modern Warfare 2019 simply because of the fact that Warzone was released. And I think it was the height of Warzone when that game released. Like when Warzone released, a lot of people were all over it and they were just playing the shit out of it, right? So Warzone is what makes a lot of people in the eyes of Call of Duty today say it's Modern Warfare 2019 is one of the best. When you look at the multiplayer in and of itself, sure, there's a few things that it did do right and did do very well, but at the same time, in terms of what the foundation of Call of Duty is, which is an arcade arena shooter, in my opinion, it failed because it's, you know, because of the map design. It was a tactical game. It ended up being very tactical, and the way the sound worked and everything like that. It really just it didn't reinforce what it didn't really support the type of gameplay that an arcade shooter is meant to be. It went in the opposite direction. Plus, they also incorporated things like realism and stuff like that, safe spaces, and you know, a fast time to kill that's like super duper fast, and you know, and as well as a design decision, they actually went back a few steps, right? They went back to like bare bones in terms of that. So like you put all these things together, and it's like no. And then of course you had the create a class system that basically like was very one-sided, that punished people that wanted to move, and that's not what an arcade shooter is. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, they've had a lot of ups and downs since then, right? You've had Cold War, which went more arcadey, and then you went Vanguard, which was also arcadey, but also at the same time felt like a Modern Warfare 2019 2.0, so to speak, to a certain extent. You know, and then you had Modern Warfare 2, which a lot of people say is the worst multiplayer in the series, et cetera, et cetera. So, and now we have Modern Warfare 3, which is embraced by so many people, but even that is having its ups and downs. Whether you look at it from a Warzone standpoint or whether you look at it from a multiplayer standpoint, there's a lot of ups and downs. And then, of course, when corporate greed comes into the mix, that will create a lot of inconsistencies as well, because there's a lot of concentration that has to be focused on the corporate side of things in terms of, hey, how do we make more money? You know, the store, bundles, and all that kind of stuff. And how do we develop the game around that, right? So that way that aspect of making money gets supported by the game itself. You see what I'm saying here? So when you look at all of these different things, with all these different kind of game modes in one game, you got a game that's trying to be an arcade shooter, but at the same time it's trying to be this, it's trying to be that, and then plus there's corporate greed and all this other stuff. You've got a mixed bag of nuts, and not everybody likes a big mixed bag of nuts. See, the thing is, when you start to lose your identity of what you are in the first place, that is when things start to go south. Okay, so what XDefiant's trying to do is it's keeping its identity, it's keeping its word, it's keeping its promise. You know what I mean? And if let's just for a quick second here, right? Let's just support the fact that, you know, there's a lot of, not support the fact, excuse me. Let's just discuss the fact for a minute here, you know, because this is being talked about as well. A lot of people in the community believe that XDefiant won't last longer than 3 months. Okay, and when you look at their argument or whatnot, there is to a certain degree a lot of weight. You know, their argument holds a lot of weight. Okay, in terms of what they have to say. But despite all that, I think the game does have a chance to last more than 3 months, because if it follows through on what it's trying to do in the first place, in terms of after Season 0, we get continuous amounts of content that doesn't get delayed, and we get our promise given to us, and the game continues to improve over time, and the transparency is there and everything like that, I think the game does have a good chance to survive, because it's doing that, because there's no inconsistencies and all that kind of stuff. Plus, it's keeping its word on what it's trying to do in the first place, right? One of the worst things you can do is stop keeping your word. And if you need proof, just ask Helldivers. You know, everything was going really well with Helldivers. A lot of people were happy.
Jay.
It's available
What's up,
on
Sean?
PlayStation 5 and PC. You know,
gonna
everybody
release?
that's playing the game is very happy. And then over the last, I don't know how long this happened very recently, but
That is a good question.
apparently now all of a sudden the corporate high-ups decided that
Probably
you need
June.
a PSN ID if you're playing on PC in order to have
If
access
I
to
had to guess,
Helldivers.
I'd say June.
So a lot of people are firing back about that, and that just goes to show you what corporate greed can do to a game. So basically, if you think about it, the only thing that XDefiant has to worry about, for the most part, is Ubisoft, the publisher themselves. So as long as Ubisoft doesn't stick their nose too
'cause
far
that's
deep in and let the
my
creators
channel
do
name?
what the creators are meant to do and let them do what they do, then so be it. I mean, is there a chance that the game could still, you know, do everything that it's supposed to be doing and do it right and fail? Of course, there's always a chance that everything could fail. There's no guarantees. But I think at the same time, there's also a good chance that it could succeed. And I think that there is potential for the player base, especially if XDefiant plays its cards right,
it's still
to
possible
support
that
the
it may
game in
release in
return,
May.
and then the game ends up being better. I mean, to a certain extent, it is a Cinderella story, but at the same time, you know, you got to have a little bit of faith. You know, it's definitely possible that the game will survive, but I don't think it needs a Battle Royale to survive, and I will even go as far as to say that the game itself, if it were to implement a Battle Royale, especially under circumstances like where we're at right now, it's not going to survive. As a matter of fact, it's going to die because its foundation is going to be gone. And as you know, if you don't have a foundation, you don't have anything. And XDefiant needs to continue to have its foundation. So that is my thoughts on it. So with that being said, I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you believe that XDefiant needs a Battle Royale in order to survive no matter what?
Yeah,
and they should start incorporating it
there's
right
still
away?
issues,
Or
but-
do you guys think they should incorporate it, like,
But again,
let's say a
everybody's had
year or
different
two
experiences.
later?
That's one thing I've
Or do you guys think that XDefiant so far is doing the right thing and it's sticking to its guns? I'd really like to know. Give me your feedback down in the comment section below, and I'd love to hear what you guys like to think. But with that being said, this video's gone long enough, and as always, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to watch and or listen. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
I've been getting a lot of ping, man.